Today, librarians answer your questions. The question we're talking about is, my child doesn't like to read. How can I get them interested in books and the library? You better stay tuned. It's going to be great. Hi, welcome Katy and Alison. And today, librarians answer your questions. We are talking about the question, we've had this a few times, where parents ask, my child doesn't enjoy reading. How can I get them excited about books, about the library? How can the library help them? So what do you have?
Well, Erin, thanks for letting us be here. The important thing is to realize that our recommendations today are not for things like homework, and they're not for things that are like, you have to read. We want kids to engage in reading for enjoyment. So our recommendations are for this piece, because you cannot test kids wanting to read. And we call that print motivation.
Okay.
Well, and here at the library, we have the resources to help answer questions and connect kids with their interests. We can give kids and parents the tools they need to explore what they're excited about, and give them a bit of agency in the decisions on what they read.
Okay. So like not everybody reads the same things. That's why we have a library, as you can have choices. So how important is it for a child to choose what they're reading? And we're talking about enjoyment. Like you said, we're a popular materials library. We're not the school district. We're not, have a curriculum. We're wide open to popular stuff. So how important is it for children to choose what they read at the library?
It is very important, because you're right. Nobody reads the same. Kids engage with books and reading in all kinds of different ways. It can be important for them to pick a subject that they're very interested in. It could be about answering a question they have, or it could be finding the best format, either a print book, an audiobook, a graphic novel, a book with no words, or a read-along book, which lets them flip through and read a book while someone is reading as well along with them.
Oh, okay.
And some kids are intrigued by a wide range of different things, and maybe they're looking to find a book that will allow them to do an activity with them. This is an example of one. We have the Grossology Handbook.
Okay.
There are very gruesome STEAM activities with science and art that they can participate. A lot of kids really enjoy books that are funny, and especially for those who may get interrupted a lot by maybe a younger sibling comes by, they can still enjoy books that have comics like Garfield.
Okay.
And, we really encourage families to take an opportunity to read aloud together. And you spoke of choice. Why is that important? Kids want a sense of empowerment to be able to have decisions for themselves, because, sometimes it's hard to be younger because there's not always a lot of decision making that they are doing at their age.
Well, and you think about it, at school, they're not making hardly any decisions except maybe what they eat for lunch if there's choice at the cafeteria. Like they're kind of told all day what activities to do and what they're supposed to. So having choice in what you're reading at home or making some decisions, like you said, that could be really valuable.
It is. And in fact, we love having books that have choices. I don't know if you remember this from growing up.
Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yes, we have some Choose Your Own Adventure. We have some newer titles too, along with the classics you may have had.
Can I just say, I loved growing up Choose Your Own Adventure, and I would make sure I chose every possible. So I probably read the book however many dozens of times to get to every adventure and choice and follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, we have the chapter book style. We even have what we call a step up into reading. So if you have kids that are still struggling readers, these are a good example of what grown-ups can help their kids choose. That is also closer to the reading level if they need that assistance.
Yeah.
And as you can see, there's bigger font. They can turn to page 24 if they want to choose that ending. It's a lot of fun and a wide range of interests there available.
Very cool. All right. So how can parents guide them? Like, how will they know what they might need? How do they get them to those choices?
Well, parents do know their kids best, so they can take note of what their child's interested in, questions they ask, the activities they're interested in, what kind of media they like, activities they do together, and that may point them towards good matches for what they would like to read. There are some kids that just want a good book but have nowhere to start as well. And sometimes narrowing the collection down to get a child started, to kind of limit the choices, can be a good strategy, because some people will walk into a library full of large books and be like, I'm anxious to explore, this is wonderful. And others will be intimidated and a little overwhelmed if you don't quite know what you enjoy reading yet. So we love to help with that as well.
Oh, okay. Totally. I mean, look, our selection that we brought here was the smallest selection.
Of choices, but this is not even, this is hardly anything. It's scratching the surface.
Yes, it is. And this is just, barely catching everything that we have available.
And then, are you going to show this later? You mentioned read-alongs earlier. Do we want to look at that, or did you?
Yes, I forgot to show them.
Okay.
They are books, and there's different levels. This one is a chapter book.
And so I just kind of want to point out, there's a little stereo system that will read the book while you're turning the pages and going through the book. And that is so cool. All right. And we have it for different reading levels.
Yes, we have chapter books, and we have more of the picture book format.
Right. We have nonfiction and fiction.
Oh, very nice.
And picture to chapter book, different reading levels. So it's really nice.
Awesome. That kind of came recently, I think, in the past year and a half, that we've kind of gotten those books.
Yeah, in the last year or two.
Yeah. So folks might not be familiar with that. And we used to have the playaways and some other things that kind of would help with the audiobooks, but now we have this where you get the audiobook and the visual and the reading, all in together, and that's amazing. All right. What else do we got? Where were we at? Oh, yeah, we want to talk a little bit about interactive library programs or activities that might help get kids excited about coming to the library.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is the summer reading program we do every year, which has great reading incentives and events and programs and reading challenges. Yeah. So it gets kids more excited about reading. Hopefully.
And I know this past summer, we gave away a book for every child who signed up.
Yes.
And we're doing it again this coming summer. Yes. I know we're fundraising in the spring for that. So it's a great fundraiser that really helps out. It was close to 1,000 kids last summer that got a book, and
I believe so. Yeah,
yeah, that's exciting.
We want kids to have the opportunity to start out reading,
right.
and access our collection as well. But they have something to take home with them to keep.
Start their own library.
To start their own library.
I just remembered one more thing. You mentioned audiobooks and graphic novels earlier on, and I think some parents hesitate, because that doesn't feel like it's actual reading. Like, you know what I mean? Like school reading is actual reading. I think for some parents, they might kind of have this, maybe we're told that by an adult at some point, that graphic novels or comics and audiobooks, I see we have some here, are not actual reading. Can you talk a little bit about that before we move on?
Well, not everybody approaches reading the same way, and we have different needs sometimes with students who are struggling to make the connection with the visual word, with the audio that comes, or being able to know what they are saying. Okay. Maybe sounding out a word. So the word and sound association is important. One thing that's interesting to have is that even with picture books or books that are chapter books with pictures, kids have to still decode what's going on in the picture. Okay. And when you have graphic novels, you're looking at something that not only are they decoding what the characters are saying, they also have to see what the progression of activities, they have to also know what direction to read. Pardon me. We also have a selection of materials that have been translated from Japanese, so they're reading from a different direction. Oh. So there is a type of literacy that comes with reading graphic novels or books with pictures, because it's not just the words themselves. Not just the words.
You're getting the clues from the pictures, so that you're making an association. You're learning sort of how the language is working with the pictures and picking up that literacy element.
Yes. And the other thing to keep in mind is that not everybody learns the same way.
Right.
We have people who are extremely visual. We have people that are auditory. And being able to combine both of them or approach many things, including kinesthetically, when they're doing activities related to what it is they're reading, they're going to be able to apply that knowledge together and synthesize what it is they're reading and doing, and it'll have greater meaning.
And I think I've peaked in grossology. I haven't read the whole book.
Yes.
There's like making slime, I think, is one of the activities. And so to have a child who, my son loves slime, by the way, where you're reading about slime and then how to make it, and then you're making it. So yeah, that kinesthetic, is that the right word? Anyway, you're feeling it with your hands, you're touching it, you're making it, and you're reading. So like you're getting both kind of in your brain at the same time working together, and that might help you, click on that. You like that kind of reading,
right?
Where you can then translate it into something that you do physically.
Yeah, and some people are informational readers. They don't always necessarily sit down and read a chapter book that has a story. Maybe they're reading about information, weird but true facts around the world. Maybe they love to do search and find, like Where's Waldo? That takes a lot of decoding of pictures to be able to find the characters and things like that. And that's important because if they're able to distinguish the minute differences in a picture, that will help them with looking at the characters of books and meaning the alphabet, if there's different fonts and things like that, especially in graphic novels. So
okay. So I kind of got us a little off track there.
No, it's perfect.
So we talked about summer reading, and I was just thinking also, I think some of the books that were given away were graphic novels, because we had kids from like age 5 to 17. So it's like teenagers and tweens and younger kids all getting books to read for the summer. And then, so what other library programs and activities?
Well, a part of our summer reading program, we also have a digital component that families can participate in. They track their reading. We have what we call Bean Stack challenges. We also offer some ongoing challenges. So if you have a young person, we have 1,000 books before kindergarten. Okay. That's a good way to help launch a kid and keep track. They'll be so amazed by how many books that they're reading or reading with their grown-up or reading with their family. That's one way to participate. We also just finished Smokey Bear, celebrated an anniversary. And so we had a special Bean Stack challenge for that, and kids could come in for a certificate. And we have different events that happen at different times in the library to help motivate kids to participate. And it's just really cool when they can also do their own book reviews and to say whether they like something or not. And they are adding to our greater recommendation list. And that's another way for kids to have a voice with the stuff that they're reading.
Well, we love to pull them in with programs we have weekly, like our STEAM themed Thursday or our Wonder Wednesdays or Terrific Tuesdays, where we do fun, engaging, hands-on science, technology, engineering, art, and math concepts. Kids have a lot of fun with that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you can get them introduced to the library through non-book activities. Get them hooked. And they're like, hey, we just did this STEAM activity. I wonder if they have books on that.
I want more info.
Take a book home and now do more stuff, like fun stuff like that at home, like with that grossology or anything where there's like some activities
they can fossil
do.
Food.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. There's some really fun activities. I might check this out myself.
Sounds delicious, maybe.
So true.
I've back to Bean Stack. I really wanted to, because I've used it and my kids have used it. It's got a little bit of a gamification component.
Oh, yes.
And that is like, as you read and you hit those milestones, you get the badge. And then you get the badge and you see how colorful it is. And then like you're saying, after so many hours or minutes of reading over the course of the time, you get the certificate, that you come in the library and get the certificate. And then, the reviews are great, because I don't know that we've delved into that, but like if they really like a book, tell us why. And then other kids will see that. Or if you're like, this wasn't for me. There were too many dinosaurs. I don't know. I don't know what kid that would say that, but maybe somebody would. Or maybe somebody would read that and go, oh, too many. There can't be. I'm going to read that one. Whatever, however you do it. I think that's really a good thing to talk about with Beanstack is they get another voice to talk about books and what they like. So it's great.
Our Tuesday Memory Cafes at North Spokane Library are friendly, weekly gatherings that offer a community space for those navigating memory loss and their caregivers. Every Tuesday at 11 a.m., stop into the library to connect and participate in activities, all selected to promote mental acuity, health, and wellness. Memory cafes are a comfortable way to connect with other caregivers and people experiencing memory loss. Be part of something special where understanding and support go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah. What are some things that parents or caregivers can do at home with kids? We might have already kind of touched on this a little bit, but to make it feel more fun or make it feel less of a chore with reading?
Well, let's face it, bottom line, if it's a chore for the parents or caregivers, the kids are going to see that.
Okay.
So it's actually very important to take an opportunity and look at your own reading to see how you can also make it something that the household can enjoy. Because it does, we do hope that young people, and especially grown-ups too, have that time where they have personal time of reading, but that all starts in the home because kids see what is modeled at home way before they ever see anything modeled at school.
Right.
And early literacy is so important. But even if they're late bloomers, that's okay because we have books and items that appeal to everyone.
Right.
And part that includes adults. And we hope that you take advantage of all of our types of formats and topics and genres so that kids can see that you too are enjoying it and model it at home.
I think what's interesting is so doing these podcasts and talking with different librarians and stuff. We've talked about how some folks just like they maybe went to college and again, all of the books they had to read for classes, right? Mm-hmm. And they get out and they just they're like reading fatigued. Mm-hmm. And then they come to the library like, well, I'd really like to get into reading it, but I don't even know what I like. So they try some different genres. And it's like, have you tried an audiobook? And then I've talked to some folks who are like, oh, you know what I do? I put the audiobook on when I'm doing the dishes or when I'm vacuuming is kind of hard unless you have the like headphones or, doing chores mm-hmm. or driving. Hmm. And then I've heard other people say, oh, we do a road trip with the kids. Hmm. We find a kid's book that it's hopefully funny and we all listen to that together yes. as we go. So it's, so there are some strategies for fitting in reading and, audiobooks. They really light up. I read a study on this quite a few years back. They light up some of the same brain centers that when you're reading visually a book. Mm-hmm. So it's, you're getting that same storyteller or informational if you're like into nonfiction. My husband loves nonfiction. And you're getting that same sort of information and vocabulary and just, it's just triggering your brain in all the ways that reading a book in front of you on the page. So that's great.
Yeah. And if you really don't want it to be a chore, don't force a kid to finish a book that they're not interested in.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and advice.
This is very important that we are talking about non-homework related reading.
Fun reading.
Sure. Fun reading. If they're not having fun, like if they're reading it and they're going, I don't really like this book, hopefully you've checked out more than one book from the library because you can check out a ton. And, okay, let's try another one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And kind of teach them that you don't have to, in life, there's a lot of lessons of finish what you start. But I think with books and reading for pleasure, you don't have to finish what you start. Like, let it go.
And you can always circle back if there's something, well, I couldn't read past that one part because I didn't understand what was going on. Let me try it again. My friend liked it. So that might be something that students or kids would enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
But at the bottom line, don't force them.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you really want your kids to read, you can be sneaky about it. You can,
Okay. Let's get in on this.
You can start an audiobook on that car drive, and then you can get them hooked on the story, and then finish it with the print book later out of the car.
Oh, yeah.
you can do lots of sneaky stuff like that.
Well, yeah, if you can get them hooked on the audio, but yes, that is sneaky. Oh, I like it.
Yeah, you can get them involved in your errands. You can have them, if you're in the grocery store, they can be in charge of the shopping list. Or if you're in a restaurant, they can be in charge of the menu, reading the menu for everyone.
Okay.
There's different ways you can slip it in there.
Slip some reading in.
Yeah.
And they're decoding based on menus. They're decoding the pictures of what that you might be ordering based on what is advertised there.
And they're going to get a lot of interesting, sometimes foreign or world language words sometimes in there, and trying to sound them out. And it's definitely interesting sometimes, depending on where you're going for food, obviously.
And you can always take the books with you to places like the doctor's office where you know you're going to have some time.
Yeah.
So offer them a book instead of the phone or a tablet.
Yeah.
Get some reading in that way. Undivided attention.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's hard when you're young to have to wait. So it's a great way as pastime. And even finishing small books, celebrate the wins, big or little. And even if it's, you don't have to throw a party every single time, but
sure.
Really recognize that, especially for struggling readers, really recognize the progress that they're making, because the positive association with reading and overcoming struggles and learning and integrating failure into success and turning that around is so important, because then they will feel more confident in what they are approaching in other parts of their life. Yeah. One idea that I'm hoping that I would recommend is picking out a book that has a movie component, so that if you do decide to do like an audiobook in your car, that's fun to read afterwards as a family, I would recommend The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate, because there's also a fun new movie out for this book. And as a celebration of finishing the book, it's great to have like a popcorn movie night. Yeah. And it's a great one for families. And there's so many books in movie combos like that in the library.
And we did that my son and I, we would do bedtime story with the book Wonder. And there were some nights where we were like teared up by the end of it. We're like, well, we got to end. You got to go to bed now. Sorry. But we got through the book. Not got through. It was wonderful. We loved the book. And then we did finish with the movie and popcorn night. And it was also a very touching movie. And it was so when my husband reads them, they read their funny books. And then when I read with them, we read the touching books. Right. And we do a lot of, he's a little bit older now. So now he's reading on his own and he doesn't want to be read a bedtime story, but okay. But we would do a lot of back and forth. Like, okay, I'll read a chapter, you read a chapter. You know,
reading aloud to each other is also a great way to do it.
It is. And it's a great way to do, as they get older, to do a family book club. So that
you might be ready for that.
Yeah, even if you're not reading together, you can come back and discuss parts that you have read. And it's nice, especially if you go self-paced, because not even if you want them to read up until chapter 4, and they're not quite there yet, that's okay. You can come back and read at the pace, discuss at the pace of what they are reading. And it's just a great thing, because you can say, oh, wait till you get to the end of chapter 4. It's so funny. Or, oh my goodness, cliffhanger. Be careful. So
you're going to probably want to go to chapter 5.
Yes.
Picture books can be good for family book night or book club too, because there are picture books out there that have more complex stories, and they have the illustrations for the reading comprehension. And they're short, so you can do it in one evening.
Right. And if you have, I imagine that would work well with younger kids and maybe some older siblings. And I think they could, maybe there's even a read aloud component and discuss kind of all together.
Oh, yeah. I have just the book for something similar.
Let's look at that.
So this is David Weisner's Mr. Waffles. Actually, this book has almost no words in it. And it tells a story of some aliens that land And when the cat Mr. Waffles meets the aliens that come down. And what I like about this is this would be a fun one for emerging readers to read to maybe their grown-ups or younger siblings, and they can tell the story any way they want that fits with the picture. So they're decoding pictures.
What's happening in there?
But providing literacy component based on what they're able to tell their family. And it's great way to build narrative skills.
So this is a different idea. Like, so narrative skills, so just touch on that a little bit more of what's going on there with kiddos.
So as part of reading comprehension, being able to tell what's going on in the story, to have the concept of what's the beginning, middle, and end.
Perfect.
And the complications that the action, what will happen later on.
Okay.
The follow-through of what these character decisions are, things like that. And it starts as simple as, the beginning, the middle, and the end of the book. But when you get to larger chapter books, you can get some really nice, complex plot lines that are going on.
Right.
And kids actually are able to pick up on a lot of that. And I often think of Harry Potter as being one of those series that
absolutely
you think you only read this like 3 sentences in one of those books, and yet it has a major impact later on in the story. It's just a small character action. So that would be an example of something that literature where kids are nuanced and able to pick up on a lot of those things that happen in books as they go along. And it's intriguing.
Now, this has been intriguing me the whole time I've been sitting here. This is the worst book ever. And does this have a narrative, or is this more just humor? And do you want to hold it and talk about it and maybe show a couple pages?
Well, the reason why I recommend this one is it's definitely humorous. The narrative being the overall using humor to motivate kids to read. But why would this be the worst book ever to read? Oh, there's all types of things that it's telling you to do, including saying very nonsensical words.
Bubber, peppy, pop. What was that? I don't know what it said.
Well, and
so saying silly things.
And it's telling us that with this book, you have to read out loud, and it would make a lot of us librarians quiet, mad. And then he's going to say, whoops, I meant quite mad, not quiet. Oops. So it's very funny. So this one's more of, more for humor than an actual full narrative,
but rolling laughing as you go through the book. And
it's like Where's Waldo? That doesn't necessarily have a full narrative, but the engagement in the format is important too, because they get used to the idea of reading a bigger, thicker book that's not intimidating.
But there's a lot of white space, a lot of shapes, and a lot of color, and the words are big, and it's not like full pages of sentences. It's a word or maybe a couple sentences, and they're funny, and they're going to catch you off guard, and you're just all hopefully going to just have a laughing, uproarious good time.
It's a big book, but not an intimidating book.
There we go.
Yeah, that's true.
Very
nice.
I
think, Alison, I think some of the selections you have and some of the selections we both picked out really highlight some of the combo of things that would be eye-catching and draw a reader in.
Yeah, let's look at a couple.
Yeah, we have such as Add a Twist, Scientist, The Y-Files. It's a nonfiction book, so you're learning about baking.
Oh, okay.
But it has great pictures, realistic pictures, and activities you can actually do.
Nice.
Kind of like the Grossology book, but this one's not gross.
This one is less on the gross side, more on the functional. Let's bake some bread.
Learn about
the
components of baking.
Well, and baking is very scientific. It's like chemistry of it. You have to have the measurements correct, and you have to have the oven at the right setting. And if you're using yeast, you've got to let it do its thing and for the right amount of time. And very cool. And there's math.
Yeah.
Measure
There's math and
It's
baking.
it's kind of sneaky math, right? I mean, it's measurements. So you're making sure you're reading the measurement, you're filling it up correctly, you're following instructions on how to mix it. And
and making sure you're picking out a big enough bowl.
Oh, yeah.
That you won't overfill it. So, there's some sneaky subtraction there. Yeah.
Mine usually was with salad I want to toss. It's like, this is not a big enough bowl.
It's enough to fit everything, but not to stir it.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right. And then was there something under there we wanted to talk about? Oh, yeah.
There's the Magic Treehouse graphic novels. I love this series of books because it has something in all the different formats. It has audiobooks, it has graphic books, it has novels, it has nonfiction companion books to really delve into the science behind some of the concepts in the novels.
Nice.
So they're great books that offer...
It's a very, very popular series.
It really is.
Yeah.
And they've been around a while. And
this is one of the graphic novels.
I remember we were checking them out, and I think we checked out, it wasn't the graphic novel, it was more the is it like a chapter book or is it? Yeah. And it was like number 46 and 47. And my son was like, well, what about the first 45 books? And I was like, it's okay. Or whatever it was, whatever the number was. And I was like, it's okay. I think we can go back and find those if we want to, but.
And it has great levels because I believe we even have some easy readers for beginning readers that are part of the
and that one's
Magic
Mummies
Treehouse.
in the Morning.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Last Kids on Earth.
Oh, yes.
Which has been a kind of a chapter book with pictures. And he just came out with the first graphic novel for that one. And we went and saw the author talk at Auntie's bookstore a few weekends ago. And my kids enjoyed it, loved it.
Good.
Yeah, very funny author.
Well, that's a fun way to engage kids is also we have our digital author series and we do feature some youth authors there. And
we did last summer and hopefully we'll get that again this summer.
Can you hand me this book of Mercy Watson?
Oh, yeah.
If I remember correctly, we do have Kate DiCamillo. It is recorded, so it's on demand.
Watch it,
and she's written gobs of books and has gotten the Newbery, and she wrote Tale of Despero, which is also a wonderful chapter book movie combo. She has a lot of entry-level chapter books and also some higher-level kind of chapter books for upper elementary, and they're just a lot of fun. This is about a pig that goes on many different adventures, and it has such vibrant pictures. As you can see, I think the neighbor's not very happy right now, and Mercy Watson's having fun being chased around, and the firefighters are coming in. So it's a lot of fun, and
hijinks.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good point, Erin, that to hear from the authors about why they write what they do and why they love reading and why they like to bring joy to their young readers. It's a great opportunity to hear from our creators. So,
and that's a great suggestion. I will try to remember to get the link to that in the description. But if you can't find it, you can go on our website. It's the SCLD Online Authors Series. And they were posted in July of 2024. And I know one of the authors was a poet.
Yeah.
Or maybe two of them were a poet and one was a graphic. Anyway, great authors. And so that poetry, I don't know that we've talked about poetry, but for some teens, maybe poetry might be something they're more interested in or they're feeling like they connect with. And we have that at the library on our shelves.
Yes. And actually, there are books that are done in the style of poems.
Okay.
So there is going to be less words, but there's going to be a lot more reading comprehension that comes in to fill in those components. Right. And you see a lot of those for like a 5th, 6th grade interest level, but there's a wide range. Yep.
High school, yeah.
There's a wide range. And I am seeing a number of them in my mind, but I can't remember the title.
Again,
I think there's there and
I'm going to recommend that people, if they're like, we think we want to try this, actually come to the library and they talk to the folks at the front desk.
That's
because
true.
At that moment, you'll be like, oh yeah, I have some thoughts. Let me look up what we have here on the shelf. And then you'll get going and you'll be helping them in no time.
Yes. And I hope they come by and visit us.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we love to do, because we love seeing a connection with our grown-ups and young people when they make significant connection to the books that they're reading. So
very nice. Okay. Oh, I see. Do we have any large print books with us today?
I do.
Okay, because large print can be very helpful. Like we were talking about glasses and needing glasses, young, and there's other sort of kids can have sight issues and or decoding issues, and having large print sometimes is helpful because there's more space on the page, and you can kind of the letters are more separated, the lines are more separated. Like you can really get into that.
And so format is a very important thing in the engagement of literature for young people and for older people too. One consideration is we do have large print books for youth, interfiled with our regular collection with our other juvenile books. This one actually happens to be both a read-along and a large print, which is really nice.
Yeah.
We have the ability to hear the audiobook as you are reading it. So this actually, I think, takes care of 2 points of access for a young person. This is one series I would recommend. Rick Riordan, a lot of people are very familiar with Percy Jackson and The Lightning Thief. But he has a series called Rick Riordan Presents, and there's a lot of wonderful books that he has helped promote and identify that are from many different groups in cultural stories. And this one is Arusha by Roshani Chokshi. And it's a great series that also has a graphic novel component.
Oh, nice.
And so just like there's like Greek mythology in some of them, some of them have mythology from different places around the world. Yeah. And it's really fun because there's always something great that the author brings in. And it's never boring. It's on your seat, action all the time.
And then Rick Riordan is like, that's action packed, right?
Yeah. And funny. And they're great points of access for points of entry for reading for a lot of kids.
And I love that he's his own popularity with Percy Jackson and the other ones he's done, like he's now using his popularity to promote other action-filled mythologies and stories and things that that to kind of just bring more awareness of world culture. That's awesome.
And there's some really great ones out there.
Yeah.
I love them. I'm currently going through this series right now. So,
and that's a great point. So adults can read books for youth. They can read. I love myself a good YA. So, okay. I just wanted to, hit on that. Like we're talking about reading together with your kids. I think adults can have just as much fun reading what your kids are reading.
Exactly.
Creates great discussions with your kids too.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I know many a parent who really enjoyed reading Captain Underpants, and then only to find out that Dave Pilkey came out with another very popular series of Dogman. I know that's very, very popular amongst young people.
So popular.
He's got another one. I can't remember. My son loved
Ook and Gluck, and I think or Gluck, and then Cat Kid, but that's a spin-off of Dogman.
Yeah.
And then I feel like Diaper Baby, Super Diaper Baby was super fun too.
Oh, yeah.
I love Dave Pilkey. He's very funny.
Absolutely.
And then he has some easy readers as well that are very funny. Big Dog, Little Dog.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So. And then I'm kind of looking at your pile as you're shuffling over, and I see that something that's not quite a book, but it is a book.
Oh, yes. So one of the formats we keep talking about is like downloadable books. So, we have books that can be downloaded to most smart devices. So you're thinking tablets, smartphones. Keep in mind, the newer your devices, the more likely it is compatible with most of our digital resources. But I'm happy to share that we have a compatibility with Kindle Paperwhite.
Okay.
So if you're worried about kids having too much tablet time, maybe finding an e-reader might be an option.
Okay.
That will give them the opportunity to carry around many different books.
Right.
And here I just wanted to highlight something that Libby does offer, and it is a font called Open Dyslexia that is good for anybody who has problems decoding because of a learning difference of needing maybe some additional assistance with dyslexia. So and the newer Kindles also offer the downloadable audiobooks as well, but I think they're strict to Audible. But if you are on a smartphone, you can also do an audiobook as well. You may have to have 2 devices with Libby because you can't go back and forth. But that's why we have these read-alongs,
Sure.
so that when you're trying to read the words, you can listen to it as you go along too, so that the point of access increases.
And then Libby is the app for Overdrive. So just to kind of avoid confusion, they're like one and the same. So if you've gone on to the web to Overdrive, you can check out your book, and then you can send it to your Kindle.
Correct.
So that you can read it on Libby, or Libby
Correct.
will pull it in, or however it works. I don't work at Libby, but Libby's great. I use Libby. My son uses Libby. My daughter uses Libby. Actually, all this Libby. Now that I think about it, we're all reading on our tablets or our iPhones or whatever.
Yeah, and it's nice to have e-readers or tablets because you can actually adjust the font as you need to. You could actually invert so that there's a dark screen and light letters. Sometimes that's needed for tracking. There's
line height. You can do line height. You can do letter
Yes.
size. I like that there's the dyslexia, the open font for that.
Yes, and it works for probably I think statistically they said about 40% of the population. So it doesn't always work for everybody, but to increase your chances of engagement with literature and things like that, there are other techniques that hopefully, if you have the opportunity to go and utilize resources at your school or with your physician, they can help identify those needs.
Begin your adventures at the library. Borrow a Checkout Washington Discover Pass backpack or our new birding backpack to explore our stunning state parks and get a look at the birds of the inland Northwest. Kids can delve into the wonders of their own backyards with one of our STEM Explorer kits. Take the whole family on a cultural journey with our family museum passes to Mobius Discover Center or Northwest Museum of Arts and Culture. Sign up for guided hikes along local trails to learn more about our natural spaces. Check out a pickleball set and head to a court near you. And be sure to visit our mobile library link at a community event. At Spokane County Library District, your next adventure starts at your local library.
All right. Downloadable audiobooks, Teen Audio Cloud.
Oh, yes. So I'm so glad you mentioned that because Libby is one good resource for downloadable books, but we also have Hoopla and we also have Teen Audio Cloud. I wanted to recommend Teen Audio Cloud because we actually have books in that collection that are high interest, but for lower reading levels.
Okay.
Because it's hard when you are still struggling with reading. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be, you want to be able to read for fun, but not be embarrassed if you're out, because as a teenager, I think if I was reading a picture book, that's not always something that they want to put themselves out there for.
Sort of perceived of what can be kind of an embarrassing moment, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, and it reminds me of like when you said adults can read children's materials. Maybe they don't want to be seen reading children's materials, in which case I recommend downloading the book here to your Kindle, and then you can still enjoy it without people
absolutely
judging you for reading a little kid book. But, we
absolutely
hope that you engage in literature with great joy, regardless of what age it's intended for.
Sure, yeah, of course. And then recently talked with Mary Ellen, also a librarian, public services manager here at the library. And we talked about, and I'm just going to throw this out there because it's new, is Book Flicks, which has, they have paired scholastic, not our fiction books. Say there's a book about some bears having some fun, with a nonfiction book where you can learn more about actual real life bears. And that's an online app. And it's also that you're getting the visual along with the words on the screen. And so you're kind of have that, you're reading visually and you're hearing it and you're seeing it. So it's all kind of integrated. And that's also kind of not for younger than teens, but teens could probably enjoy it too if they wanted, Yeah. So anyway, just that reminded me when you're talking about that.
That's perfect. Yeah. And I think we also have Tumble Books that offers the same, where similar, you can have it read to you as you follow along.
Yeah. Very nice. All right. We've done the read-alongs. We've talked about books with pictures. Is there anything here that we haven't talked about or you want to show before we kind of move on to the end, wrap it up? CDs. Audiobooks. What, Tree of Magic? Magic Treehouse was kind of the same
series.
So same
part of the series,
but totally different books.
Yes.
Okay.
Different format. The audiobooks are great because they will play in anything that will play a music CD.
Okay.
So they're great for car rides.
I was going to say car rides. That's where most people will either they'll have it like a Libby audiobook that they can get onto their car if they have a modern car, or not like me.
Yep.
If you've got a CD player in your car, which is what I have, you get a CD from the library.
Yep.
And then for those who still have CD players.
Yes.
But also DVD players.
Oh, yes. That's right. Yeah. We do have an Xbox and it will play audio.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of the game consoles will still play these.
Yeah. Or if you have a Sony DVD player or something like that, it'll play audio.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so.
Very cool. All right. We have a couple. Did you want to talk about this one? This Echo?
Oh, I just wanted to share, we have such a wide selection of books that are from different communities, from some wonderful authors. Echo is one of those books that I have heard, it was some time ago, but it was just such a great book, following the stories of how this one harmonica connected so many different people over a very difficult period of time in our history. And it's just one of those things that we have is just a wide range of stories and interests that we can help you find that fits what you're looking for. And then maybe exploration into something different that will make you have that, hopefully have your young folks too have that wow factor of, I want to learn more about. Right. And then,
kids are learning about instruments. They're taking a class at school where they saw a movie where another child was playing an instrument, something with an instrument in it. Is like, that sounds great. Kind of feed that interest, right? Just whatever that is, whether it's making slime or learning about, weird but true facts, or, touching stories about music.
Or reading the worst book ever.
And laughing hysterically and hardly getting through the book. I know little ones. Like there's a book that I sent to my family and my nephew, just he wants that book every night.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny. And and his parents are kind of like, why did you send us this book? After a while, they liked it at first.
But part of that, even the repetition and the kids memorizing the book, they will associate what it is they're memorizing with the words that are on the page.
Okay.
And then soon they will be reading on their own, and they can pick up on those sight words like the and
that's
and on.
That's an important point that some kids really wanted that same book over and over and they memorize that story. And then parents sometimes wonder, are they reading or just have they memorized? And that they're really connecting the two?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's part of that connection. And they could be reading because at some point they're going to be able to associate that word with what has been read and reread, and then seeing it out of context. Then you can say, oh, look, there's that word that we both saw in Elephant and Piggy by Mo Willems. And it might be waiting is hard. And then you could say waiting. So please wait.
Excellent.
So things like that.
Very good. All right. Thank you both for being here and talking about this subject. I think more parents maybe have this question than we even know. And then you've given us lots of strategies for parents to think about, how can we get them interested with, if it's adding a movie or bringing in the audio component, or just coming in and saying, you really like Minecraft. Guess what? The library has books on Minecraft. Yep. You're trying to get them away from the screen onto a book. Yeah, there you go. If it's graphic novels, if it's, yes.
That is something to keep in mind. We have a Minecraft movie release, I think, next year, that maybe you can read some Minecraft books leading up to that and be having that celebration, be going out and having a movie time. And anticipation helps.
Yeah. And I know, if they're into Legos, there's books with Lego characters in them. There's all kinds of stuff. Star Wars, whatever. So anyway, we have a lot. You just come in and, again, talk to folks at the front desk. Book Butler, we didn't talk about Book Butler, but you could also say, my kid really loves turtles. Give me all your books on turtles. You can kind of narrow that down, and that's a form you can do online, and then come in and get the books and try them out. And again, if they're not enjoying one, go to the next one. So, yeah.
And that's what they can do remotely.
Yeah. And
so if you don't have time to come into the library immediately, you can actually send in an Ask a Librarian or a Book Butler request for materials.
Yeah, we'll do the work for you.
And you guys will kind of figure out, if they give enough information besides just turtles.
Yeah.
And say, my child is this age and reading at this level, that'll help.
It does help.
Yes.
All right. These great ideas. Thank you so much. And we are librarians answering your questions today. So this is great. Thank you both for participating, letting us know what the library does.